Welcome back to the Can I Ask You a Question podcast. As always, it's so great to be back with you all, whether you're watching here on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening. So glad to be with you. Each week, we're exploring questions. As we explore questions, I believe that we unlock wisdom that benefits us, benefits others, helps our daily life. And on this podcast, it's going to be a mix of solo episodes with myself and you there listening as we explore questions and unlock wisdom, and deep dive interviews with the most interesting and insightful people in my world. Have some cool interviews in the archives or in the vault that I'm excited to release soon. Just finished one up on Friday with a good friend from Australia. So Friday evening I was here recording and talking to them in the future as they were there on Saturday in Australia. So excited for that. Today, here's the question that we're going to explore together. How do I leave a legacy I'm proud of? Everyone is going to leave a legacy. I think that's pretty obvious. If you live, you have an impact, big or small, but you're going to leave a legacy. But how do we leave a legacy that is good? How do we leave a legacy that we're proud of? And so we're going to explore that today and break that down. I was inspired to make this episode because I was thinking about my own life today. And a lot of times I'll take a walk, and here where I work, there's actually a loop, and I'm just kind of looping around outside. And as I'm looping around, I'm thinking, and one of the number one things that I'm often thinking about and I'm trying to figure out is, how do I put my energy somewhere that's going to last for the long term? I really personally don't like spending energy that isn't going to pay me back in the future, that it's just a one and done. I don't like really creating things that aren't going to live into the future. I like creating something that's going to live on for a season or in perpetuity, but I want to feel like my effort is building something. I want to feel a sense of progress, like I'm building something up and I'm going to leave something behind. And this kind of naturally leads to thoughts of legacy. Okay, what am I building that's going to last in the different areas of my life, as we're going to then break down? When I'm doing this, when I'm thinking about this, I'm trying to then increase the chances of success in my life, in the different areas of my life, and I'm trying to decrease the likelihood of failure. I believe it was Charlie Munger, who I believe is the investing partner of Warren Buffett. And it was either Charlie or Warren that said basically the number one rule in investing, I think the joke is, and the number two rule is, don't lose money. Because when you fall behind, then the amount of gains you have to get just to reach back to level, just to zero and then start growing, is so much more. And so you're trying and investing in any kind of forward-moving thing. It's not that you never take risks, but you're looking to have a constant compounding forward momentum versus these just massive pitfalls and breakdowns that you have to try to overcome just to get back to kind of the place you were. Instead, slow and steady really does win the race in so many areas. And so as I'm thinking about legacy and as I'm thinking about building something that will last and have value, then I'm thinking, how do I increase the chances of this and the scale of this and the success of this? And how do I eliminate just the stupid tax, for lack of a better term, the things that aren't just taking normal risks, but that would be, owner error, a self-fault, where we are the ones who fail ourselves. We're the ones who undermine our own success. How do I eliminate those? And so as I review that, I came up with two things that I wanted to share with you, two practices, and they're really just the two sides of the same coin. But here are the practices. Practice number one: I daily send my future self gifts to enjoy. That's kind of fun, right? I daily send my future self gifts to enjoy. Now, I'm not talking about ordering something in Amazon and doing the longest shipping so you forget about it and it arrives. So that could be cool. That could be fun. But I'm talking about the gift of having worked out and eaten healthy recently, so that now when I find myself 3 months in the future or 30 years in the future, I can receive the gift of health, the gift of financial investment and savings now so you can benefit from it later, the gift of relationship development, the gift of character and righteousness. These are gifts that we can postmark, if that's the right term, we can ship off, we can sow seed now so that our future self can reap the fruit. And so practice number one, as I'm building a legacy that I'm proud of, is that I send myself future gifts to enjoy. I do practices in the present with the idea that they will benefit me, yes, in the present, but also in the future. And then secondly, I avoid sending myself, my future self, my future family and legacy, heirs and estate, all of it, bills to pay. I avoid neglecting the bills now and sending those bills off, those debts off in the future. I avoid the bill of past spending that I didn't pay back, that now I have this mountain of debt I have to figure out, or my heirs or family have to figure out, or my business has to figure out. I avoid the unpaid bill of broken relationships or relationships that are full of unresolved issues, that, you go to the family reunion or you go to the work party or whatever it may be, and it's just a landmine of unresolved issues. That's a bill that left unpaid. We don't want to send that to our future. We want to deal with that. We want to pay it now. I don't want to send myself, my future self, the bill of chronic health issues, and not everything is within our control, but so much is, and I want to do my part so that I do not send a negative bill. And so, we're going to just have some fun, and we're going to get practical, and we're going to talk about 3 areas of your life where I believe you want to build a great legacy. You want to build a legacy you're proud of. I know these are core passions for me, areas I want to build a legacy. And so one is marriage and family. We want to build a wonderful and God-honoring legacy in the area of our marriages and in the areas of our family. The second is mission. That we want to, when we live this life, we want to live it on mission according to the purposes of God that He's given us, that He's designed us for. And we want to leave a legacy that could be through our career, through our nonprofits, but it's those things that we're doing on mission. We want to leave a positive legacy. And then finally, we want to have a positive legacy in the area of our money. And so today we're going to talk about marriage and family, mission, and money. And so these are the 3 areas of legacy. And we're going to break it down real simply. Here are some gifts that we can give our future self and some bills to avoid. Are you ready for it? Let's jump in. So the first gift that we can give ourselves in the area of our marriage and family is the gift of patience. The gift of patience. Be patient for it. I'm about to give you some gold here that I know has benefited me so much. With our spouse or with our children, they don't tend to grow very well and improve very well when they're under immense pressure and judgment and an environment of frustration. But when we allow some patience, I am so often surprised by the amazing results. This, I think, takes a certain level of health on the party of you're being patient with. If you're, I can be patient with a rock for my entire life. It's not going to move unless the wind blows it. But with someone that is trying their best, with a child that is seeking to grow, loves Jesus, seeking to grow, with a spouse that wants to get better, then one of the biggest gifts we can give our future selves and them is patience now. Because it becomes the healthy soil that your spouse, particularly, let's just say, for example, can grow in, and you're going to love the results. I have seen real practically that some of my best times of connection with my wife, best times of romance and dates have been preceded by some acts of patience. When I've given her some space, I've given her, as we're going to talk about some of these other things, some support, some praise. And when I sow in, the results are so amazing. But when I impatiently just try to take a withdrawal, it never works. That's never, you're going to meet my emotional needs. You're going to meet my physical needs. We're going to go out, watch 7 hours of this, my favorite movie, and you're going to do the whole marathon and you don't like that movie. Demanding things doesn't tend to work very well. Patience, I like the results of it. I want to double down on it myself. It's a gift we can give our future selves and our future families. The second is the gift of presence. Many people have said this before me, but your spouse, you're the only spouse they have. You're the only husband they have, or the only wife they have. I know there can be split families and things, but generally speaking, you are the only father your children can have. You are the only mother your children can have and are ever going to have. And so when you are present for them, emotionally, but also physically, that is a gift. And it's one of the things, amongst other things, that I believe the gift of presence does, is it then, how it benefits us in the future is that then it becomes the gift of memory. Then their life and your life, and hopefully, because I'm a big fan of photos, take lots of photos, take lots of videos of your life. It's one of my greatest wealths. I seek to protect it. I have a hard copy and a digital backup copy of our photos and our videos and many of our memories. And you know what? I can't take a picture of me at an event that I wasn't at. Yeah, I could Photoshop it, but that's fake and that's cheating, and it'd be a totally manufactured memory. I gotta be at the wedding to get photographed at the wedding, to have a memory at the wedding. I got to be at the ball game. I have to be on the vacation. The gift of presence, as a leader, for all of us as leaders, you can't underestimate the value of presence with your team, with if you're a teacher, with your students. For Ali and I, with the school that we lead, I just recognize every time I'm not present in an area, things get a little bit less quality. Things just slide a little bit, and when I show up, it begins to raise again. There's no substitute for presence. So it's a gift we give our family now, but it leads to a long-term legacy. Number 3 is the gift of perseverance. If you remember back to kind of the question here of building a legacy, I kind of ask myself, how am I going to regret this in 10 years, or am I going to be proud of this? Am I going to like the fruit of that decision 10 years ago, or am I going to not like it? And I would tell you that one of the things that I believe we are so rarely going to regret, if ever regret, is having persevered, having stuck with it. It's one of the greatest things that we can give our families and our spouses is the gift of perseverance. So they're all P's here: patience, presence, perseverance. That we'd be people that we stick with it. That we're not often jumping out of jobs or jumping out of churches or jumping out of relationships, different friendships, but that they would see, hey, mom and dad, they stuck with things. They were faithful to God. They were faithful to one another. They were faithful to the family. They were faithful to the mission that God had, the gift of perseverance. Number 4, because we're going to just keep going, we got a lot to break down today, is the gift of praising. Since I wanted to stick with P's, I used the gift of praising: patience, presence, perseverance, and praising. I could have also used the gift of voice, or the gift of words. How many times have we heard stories, maybe you've experienced it yourself, of people who are dealing with the pain because their mother or their father never said, I love you, I believe in you, I'm proud of you. There's a really good movie. He has a few naughty jokes or whatever, but it's called The Adam Project on Netflix. And there's this scene when a father is actually speaking. It's a futuristic sci-fi movie with time travel. So a father gets to actually speak to his adult grown-up son. I don't want to give away the whole plot. And he's not been in his son's life for a matter of years. I won't give away the plot. And he just begins to speak to his son. And at first his son is awkward and he doesn't want to hear it, but his father just keeps speaking. I love you. I'm proud of you. I believe in you. These are seeds that are going into the heart of your kids. These are seeds that are going into the heart of your spouse and of your friends and family. We do not have a world of too much encouragement. We have a world with a drought of encouragement. Sometimes we have false praise. Sometimes we have the wrong people with the wrong motives praising one another. But legitimate praise from the legitimate authority in their life, or a spouse, that we don't have too much of. And so we can give ourselves, our families, the gift of praising, of speaking words of encouragement, that would infuse courage into their hearts, because you would say, as I've heard others talk about, hey, those I see in you conversations, I see in you the capability for this, I see in you the potential for this, I love this about you. Are there things to grow? Yes. Can we also use our voice to correct and at times adjust and coach 100%? But we're also going to give the gift of praising, of positive encouragement. And here are some bills to avoid. Here are some things that just don't do this. Don't allow these bills to float off into the future and negatively affect your marriage and your family during your life and after your life. And number one, here's a bill we do not want to send our future marriage and family, and that is the bill of unmet expectations. The bill of unmet expectations. And whose expectations? In this situation, I'm talking about ours. We don't want it's kind of the opposite of praising and such. We don't want them to grow up with us, and it's really, actually, as I thought of it, is the opposite of the patience. That instead of being patient and saying, I believe in you and I'm just going to enjoy your development, we have all of these expectations that we're putting on them before they can meet them, that just weigh them down. It's a bill that compounds. You know, when people begin to fail in your eyes, when they know they're failing in your eyes, you would think maybe, okay, that'll stir them up and they'll rise to my expectations, and we'll have the gift of met expectations. But what tends to often happen, and I'm not saying have no standards, make no asks or anything like that, but we have to be careful that we're not just putting all these the weight of these unmet expectations on our loved ones that they can't meet. And because they can't meet them, they actually begin to perform worse, and they even get further from them. Instead, let's be patient cheerleaders of them. The second bill is the bill of unresolved conflicts. Just like the other ones were all P's, these are all unmet expectations, unresolved conflicts. You know, relationally, I want to keep a really clean book. If this was a budget or something, or an accounting book, I want to keep a really clean accounting among the family, that there'd be practices of forgiveness, of reconciliation, of confrontation, conversation, and forgiveness, so that we don't have just these floating unresolved conflicts that they're going to affect you, I think, in your, if it's in the marriage, then it's just compounding year after year. And I think it's one of the reasons we see probably so many divorces. It's just these unresolved thing after thing after thing. And it's the overall weight. There's a final straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's this unresolved weight. But I also think, and then you're going to see it in your kids, and maybe this blows up. Maybe this bill comes due before your kids are out of your house. That's possible. But I'm also thinking even further down the road, when your kids are grown kids and who are having kids, and now there's a whole clan from you. If you've not encouraged and led the family to resolve conflicts, you just are leaving this legacy of landmines for them to try to navigate in. And I've seen it, I've watched it, and it's heartbreaking. Without being too specific, I've experienced it in my own life in different areas, and suddenly people who really don't even have an issue with each other, they're not connecting because people around them have issues, and it just becomes this messy, miry bog. And we want to give the gift of resolution, and we want to not send the bill of unresolved conflicts. Number 3, the bill of unrepented failures. Unmet expectation, unresolved conflict, unrepented failures. Or I could have just put unrepented sin. Sin can destroy your family and your legacy, no doubt. But I think more particularly, it's the unrepented sin. It's the unrepented moral failures. It's the unrepented failures of judgment, right? Because when you make a failure of judgment, when whatever that might be, saying something hurtful, doing something hurtful, or actually doing something immoral, that causes damage. But through repentance, so much can be restored, can actually, in some cases, be better than it was before. It's never going to be the same. It's going to be a new path, a new thing, but it can actually grow back stronger than ever it was before on the other side of repentance and forgiveness. But when things aren't repented, when things aren't resolved, when things aren't corrected, then that becomes that's the standing and lingering statement that you are sending to your family. That in some way that's okay. Or that in some way that's the inevitable end that, hey, our family, we just all kind of have this moral failure. And we're not maybe proud of it, but we're not really repentant. And none of us can be the playbook for how to defeat it because we haven't defeated it ourselves. We do not want to send the bill of unrepented, unchanged, unaltered, unchecked, unresisted failures and sin to our family. Instead, we want to do the opposite. We want to be people who fight hard to walk in righteousness, who fight hard to live in a legacy of character. But when we fall and when we sin and when we make just dumb decisions, we're quick to repent, quick to battle and resist and get back into a place of rightness with God, rightness with our family, our friends, all those around us. And so we do not want to send the bill of unrepented failures. The next one is the bill of unspoken words of affirmation. And we really talked about this in the gift of praising. Giving praise and giving words of affirmation is a gift to your future kids, to your kids who are now in their future, and a gift to your future self and a gift to your legacy. But unspoken words of affirmation, that's a bill. That's a lingering question mark on the hearts and minds of those around you, and it's not a gift, and we don't want to do it. We're going to move on in just a second to mission, to leaving a legacy in the areas of our career, in the areas of our serving, and the part of us that is called by God to be just a warrior king, a poet priest to make a difference on this earth, and a lover as well, a lover of God, as I broke down in another podcast, those three ideas, parts of us. We're going to talk about living on mission and doing it with creating a legacy. But before we do, I have one ask for you, and come on, don't tune it out. Here it is. Subscribe to the Wise Letter. What's the Wise Letter? It's a Monday through Friday newsletter that I send out to you, my audience. It's a similar tone. We're asking questions, we're reflecting on life, and we're seeking to grow and get better day after day. And by subscribing, one of the cool things is now it's a direct link of communication for yourself and me. You know, there may be a day we're so big when I can't answer every email, but hey, we're not there yet. And so if you have questions, if you have thoughts, in our world, I'm a little bit of a kind of a prepper, and there may be a day when people around us don't want us to be able to communicate and directly. They want to kind of get in the way. And so email is a direct link of communication for us as a community to get together, to stay together, to be able to send out important updates. And by subscribing, you become a part of that. Second is it's a daily form of encouragement. You know, we're seeking to get out this podcast once a week now, up to the output there, and hope you're enjoying that. But if you want even more encouragement and different thoughts or different angles on similar thoughts, then that newsletter, that written form is a whole other way for daily encouragement. And then finally, it's an active way to support the show. Pretty much anybody doing anything online realizes the power of an email list, the power of having a community they can directly shout out to, that they can offer resources to. And so a way to support the show right now, the big ask is there's no sponsor of the show. It's, hey, subscribe to the Wise Letter. And with that, let's jump right back into our conversation. We're talking about building a legacy in the area of mission in our life, right? Forwarding the mission. And this is the broad part of your life. This is having a good legacy. If you have a business, that I believe it should be a part of your God mission on earth. I believe everybody needs to be a part of a local church and then to be serving regularly at that church. That should be a part of everyone's mission. There could be other things as well, obviously different just passion projects and areas of art and creativity, but that part of you that is building, that is cultivating, and is creating, we're covering that into the area of mission, and we want to leave a positive legacy. We want to have got some meaningful things done, have built some stuff that lasts, that has value when we're done with this life, right? I know I have. And so here are a few gifts to go along with that. But first, let me grab a quick drink of coffee. Grab your own coffee if you got it. We're just plowing away, and I need to breathe for a second. But I'm enjoying being with you and going through all of these. I need them. I need them too. These are all things. It's helpful for me as a checklist to go, am I doing this? Am I sending gifts to my future self so far in the marriage and family? Am I sending gifts in the area of mission? And then finally, we're going to get to money. And so one of the gifts that you can give this area of your life is the gift of vision. The gift of vision. People who are following you need you to have a vision. When you have that, it's a gift. It's a gift in the short term, but it becomes even more so a gift in the future, because you are someone who's wise. You see trouble afar off. You see opportunities afar off, and you begin to lead the team that direction. So one of the gifts is vision. The next gift in this area of living on mission in our life is being a person, is giving the gift of values. Everyone around you suffers when you are not a person of clearly defined and consistent values. And everybody gains and benefits, if for no other reason than just from the predictability of they can trust on you, they can bet on you, because you're a person of stable and firm and concrete values that you live by. For me and for many of us listening, our core set of values are given to us in Scripture, in the Bible, as we see God's commandments, his heart, the things he that break his heart, the things that warm his heart, that he calls us to do. Those are the basic building blocks. Then within that, though, there's some, I think, liberty. Some of us are gonna emphasize one value over another a little bit, and have our distinct uniqueness while honoring the overall Scripture. But we need to be people that we have a sense of vision. We have a something we're building towards, a direction we're going. You know, I've come to think that it's better to actively be going some direction and then let God adjust you if you're wrong, than to just sit totally idle and unaware. I think you're just sitting duck for purposelessness and sitting duck for so many other things. So we give the gift of vision, and then we give the gift of values, that not only do we have a place we're going to go, but our values dictate the way we're going to get there. And, you know, as I look at legacy, and as I look at imparting things into, primarily because really, if this is kind of a newsflash, the only thing that I think that really we can imbue our legacy into, like the biggest thing, is people. There are, bank accounts we can put money in. There are contracts and systems and things we can put in place and laws, if we were to help enact laws, those affect people long term. But ultimately, it's kind of all about people. And so we're giving these gifts really to people. We're giving vision. We're giving values. And as people, I think I kind of got off track there slightly, but we're giving them this gift that they know, hey, we're going to do this thing in a certain way, held on by these values, and it's a gift for always, right? Third is the gift of trying. The gift of trying, right? I keep thinking, really, this isn't just about your kids. This is about your employees. This is about people that follow you. But I keep thinking about my kids, and they need me to have vision. They need me to have values. That's what I was getting at before. Is that's the legacy I'm gonna give them ultimately. I can give them money, but more so if I can imbue within them some really good vision, and then they're going to build on that vision, and some really healthy values. So a playbook for life, foundationally built upon the Scripture. That's the biggest legacy. But then one of the next things I can give my kids, I can give my employees, I can give my peers, is the gift of trying. That I wouldn't just be a good person with a good vision and good values, but I would actually get out there and I would try. That I would actually get out there, and that when I look back at my life, I want my kids to be able to say, Dad, he wrote some books. I hope they were good books. I hope they're going to say they were successful, they had a great reach, but at the very least, I want to publish some stuff. I don't want it to be Dad wrote half of a couple of good books. He wrote a part. No, we want to actually get out there and deliver some finished products. We want to try. The dad started and mom started some businesses. They wrote some books. They fought for some causes. They signed up. They joined the team, and they fulfilled the requirements for that season. They didn't quit halfway through. They joined the board, and they followed through on the 2-year term. They didn't quit halfway through. I want to give the gift of trying. And if we can try, it's awesome if we succeed. but we're already succeeding in terms of a gift to our heirs and the people watching us just by trying. There's a lesson learned just in that, because now that legacy, they are going to become people who are triers. And I'll tell you what, you definitely won't be a succeeder if you're not a trier. And so step one is the gift of trying. And then the next one in the area of mission and team and legacy and leaving things good for your future self, whether that's your 5-year self, 10-year self, 30-year self, is the gift of team. You know, if I'm going to take over, if I were to take over a company from somebody, I would like it if they had a lot of money in the bank account and they had a good customer base. But without a good team, that is going to be a dwindling resource. Without a good team, it's a ticking time bomb before all those things are going to get dwindled away. And I would have to work and put in the one thing that is absolutely essential, in addition to the division of values, is a team that can actually carry this thing to the next level. And so as I'm building out my businesses, I'm building out ministries, whatever, for the future, I'm keeping an eye on team. That is going to be the gift I'm going to give myself. That is going to be the gift I'm going to give others more than almost any other, is these relational connections and partnerships. These are paid employees. These are volunteers. These are board members. These are vendors with great relationships. These are contractors. But I'm building out my team so that in the future, when I need to go do something, the team is ready to execute it, right? So these are some gifts. Some of the bills that I want to not send my legacy, that I want to give to myself and my legacy in the area of mission, is the bill of uncertainty. It's the exact opposite of vision. And, you know, I don't want my kids or my employees or anyone to look back and go, okay, Dad tried. He had some businesses. He had some ministries. He led this project, but he was just so uncertain. We just basically did circles. We never really had a chance to win. And we look back because we were just doing circles. The next bill we do not want to give is the bill of indecision. That, okay, he had a goal, she had a goal, that a place they wanted to go, but when there were decision points, when there were risk moments, when there were, I think the term is crossing the Rubicon moments, crossing the river and going to war moments, they were undecided. They would never just make up their mind, or they kept changing their mind. That's not a legacy that we want to gift to our future selves and those around us. It's a bill. The bill of undevelopment. So we had the gifts of vision, values, trying, and team, but we had the gifts, the ungifts and the ingifts, the uncertainty, indecision, and undevelopment. You know, it's really hard to leave a legacy in the area of mission if you have not stayed on top of developing yourself and staying excellent and staying sharp, so that you're able to be relevant and be there in the missional places and the marketplaces for years and years to come. That lack of development, that leaning on past success, is going to ultimately cost your mission in the future. And then finally, the bill of isolation, right? So as I'm thinking about this area of mission and legacy and mission, I'm thinking about the businesses that maybe you're creating. You're hoping they're going to last. They're going to be something good for the world, for your city, for your kids, for the other employees or owners. I'm thinking about the ministries that you're dreaming to start, things like that. And uncertainty, indecision, and lack of development on your part, these are all bills. But the other one is the bill of isolation, that you started something and something meaningful, but you failed to build the team. Or you alienated the team you had. You failed to build partnerships and ally. You thought you could do it all alone, or you didn't think you could do it all alone, but you were too afraid to reach out and make the connections. And so your gift is like I said before, at best a partial gift. Okay, here's the name of the organization, there's some money, here's some vision, here's some values, but you're basically alone. And that isn't, it's people where so much of the value are at. And so the bill of isolation is not something I want to pass on. And finally, and thank you, I hope that you're enjoying this. I hope that this is stirring up some thoughts. I hope that we're generally just thinking through, man, I don't want to debit my family. I don't want to debit my legacy. I don't want to debit the mission of my life with these bills, but I want to give these gifts to my future self in the areas of marriage, family, career, mission. And then the next one and final one is in the area of money. We do not want to shoot ourselves in the foot with money. We don't want to idolize it. We don't want to worship it, but we also don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot and send ourselves some bills, maybe some literal bills, and our family, friends, and community some bills because we didn't get this right. We want to get it right. Let's get it right. And so here are some gifts we can give ourselves in the area of money and money legacy. One is the gift of abundance. Right now, here in the present, I need to have a spirit and a mindset of abundance, and I need to sow that into everybody around me. It is abundance mindset, and that belief then shapes behavior, which then, wouldn't you know, actually leads many times to abundance, right? But it starts as a mindset. The next gift that I want to give those who I'm building a legacy with and for is the gift of earning. I want to be someone who knows how to earn money, who knows how to make wealth, and then show them how to do the same thing. The next is I want to be someone and I want to give them the gift of saving. In the area of my financial legacy, I want my kids, I want my team to know how to save. I want them to know how to control impulses on spending and not be driven by fear or by greed, but be able to build up and save for problems and opportunities in the future. Getting a mentality and a culture in your family and in your business and in your organizations of abundance, of earning and saving. These are gifts for your future self. And if you'll do the practices, then the end result, there are two things happening, but one of the end result is you'll actually have some money there for when you need it. The next is the gift of excellence. And so this could apply to the area of mission and business, but also it applies just in the area of money, as I want to be someone who is excellent, who values excellence as a standalone value. And as I do, and maybe part of the reason I pursue it is because I have an abundance mentality that thinks my excellence will be rewarded. Well, what happens? I earn more. I have more opportunity to save, but I want to give the gift of excellence because, when things are really, really good, I've seen that at times in different areas and businesses where people, when things are really good, they kind of drop their excellence because they don't need to be excellent. There's a lot of abundance. And then they want to quickly try to compete for market share when things get lean again, but they've built a bad reputation and they don't even have the habits or the systems of excellence in place. Whereas an excellent team and an excellent person is going to benefit in the positive times, but it's going to look like they're maybe less benefiting because they're like, I'm working twice as hard and this less excellent company or person seems to be doing just fine. They're going to benefit some, they're going to benefit a lot, but it's not going to be as obvious in the good times. But where it really stands out is in the hard times, that now excellence becomes a competitive advantage and a future predictor and causer of success. And so I want my kids, I want my companies, I want everyone around me, and it has to start with me to be people of excellence, have a culture of excellence. And this culture, all of them, I have to have the abundance mentality if I'm going to have that culture. I have to become a good earner and learn how to earn. I have to become a good saver. I have to walk in a spirit of excellence, a commitment to excellence. And then I want to give them the gift of investing. I want to teach my kids, and honestly, I realize just with my wealth building place right now that I'm investing very much in one sense into myself and self-development. We talk about that in the family zone. I'm a big investor in myself and skills and knowledge and things like that. But I don't have yet necessarily enough money saved up and earned and that free cash flow to go into this part yet, but I know it's something on my radar. Is now, okay, we have, when there's suddenly resource that's not needed for any present businesses, it isn't needed for any reasonably predictable problems, what are we going to do with it? We're not going to squander it and say we're going to have the gift of investing. And I want to teach that to everybody that's part of my legacy. And here are, once again, some bills to avoid in the area of money. One is the bill of lack. I don't want to give my family and put into my family a legacy of lack, both literal lack, but also a mindset of lack. No, I want abundance. I don't want the bill of laziness, right? We want the gift of earning, not the bill of laziness. Right? Laziness, it's so odd, isn't it, that people that are lazy are sometimes the most reporting to be the most tired. Laziness begets laziness. It's a vicious and scary cycle, and it's not one I want to be in or model for anyone else around me. It becomes really easy to get so complacent, so out of shape in terms of work or anything else that you just can't get yourself out of the trap. It's a scary place. I don't want to send my family the bill, the habit, the legacy of overspending. I don't want to send that to my teams or the missional things that I'm building. I want us to be able to be in control of our spending and not an out of control overspending culture. I don't want to send the bill of complacency, very similar to that of laziness, but I want the gift of earning, not the gift of laziness, the bill of laziness. Complacency is kind of the opposite of that excellence, that I don't want to create a culture in my family or my businesses or anywhere else, ministries, that is just complacent and just doesn't value excellence for its own sake, doesn't get a little bit frustrated when things are out of alignment. Instead, no, I want that gift of excellence, not the bill of complacency. And finally, the bill of squandering. I don't want to send and give to my family a culture of squandering, that when we have extra, that instead of investing it, we squander it. No, I want the gift of investing. And so I hope today that helps you, that once again, just that basic question I'm asking is, okay, and basically I'm asking, how do I increase the chances of success and decrease the likelihood of failure in my future, so I can build something that lasts and that's good in my marriage and family, and the different areas of mission in my life, such as businesses, ministries, projects, and the area of money. And then as we're doing that through kind of the two-part process of sending ourselves future gifts and actions that are going to help predict and cause success in the future, and avoid sending ourselves time bombs, avoid sending ourselves bills that we're going to have to pay in the future that are going to undermine our ability to be successful tomorrow. And you know what? If we'll do this, if we'll send ourselves daily gifts for the future, and we'll avoid sending our safe daily bills, a couple of things happen. One, I think we're going to have a pretty good daily life, because we know we have a sense of mission, of purpose, and hope for the future. And I think we're gonna have a great future as well. And it's just kind of compounding thing, because every day you're reaping the gift you sent yourself yesterday, and every day you're sending the gift for the future. And so you're constantly in this cycle of receiving the gift you sent yourself in that you'd previously sent yourself, and giving and sending and investing, so that you'll pay it forward to yourself and to your family, your heirs, your teams in the future. It's this kind of compound snowballing effect, and it's pretty amazing. And so let's begin it today. If you haven't, let's continue it. Let's not grow weary in doing good. And with that, just want to thank you for listening, and once again remind you, subscribe to the Wise Letter. That's the best way to connect with me, stay up to date on everything going on with the podcast and the newsletter. And thank you for listening. Let's build legacies that we're proud of. Let's do it.